viewers, you're watching The Explosive Exclusive with me and Navika Kumar, and it's been one of those days where India has ensured that no one can say that it is running away from paying China back in a manner that is befitting. The Indian Prime Minister today, viewers, issued one of the most strident statements that he has perhaps ever made after a provocation, including the provocation in Uri and Pulwama. This message to Beijing and the Communist Party thugs will hit so hard, viewers, that they will be reeling, because in this message, Navika, the Prime Minister has made it very clear that the provocation will not go unpunished.
Absolutely. And the Prime Minister has also made it very clear that while India wants peace, while India is a country that prays for peace in the world, it is not to be mistaken for India's weakness. He also made it very clear that the 20 braves that we lost in this skirmish, as China would want to call it, wo marte marte mare hain, which makes it very clear that India is not going to shy away from giving China a bloody nose, and it has kept quiet so far because there is an agreement for de-escalation, but that is not India's weakness. India has the full might, and India's braves have the full might to take on China and to protect its own motherland, its own territorial integrity. Take a listen in to this 167-second statement by the Prime Minister, which makes his intent and his message very clear, not just to China, but to the entire world.
हमने हमेशा से ही अपने पड़ोसियों के साथ एक कोऑपरेटिव और फ्रेंडली तरीके से मिलकर काम किया है। हमेशा उनके विकास और कल्याण की कामना की है। जहां कहीं हमारे मतभेद भी रहे हैं, हमने हमेशा ही ये प्रयास किया है कि मतभेद विवाद न बने, डिफरेंसेस डिस्प्यूट्स में न बदले। हम कभी किसी को भी उकसाते नहीं हैं, लेकिन हम अपने देश की अखंडता और संप्रभुता के साथ समझौता भी नहीं करते हैं। जब भी समय आया है, हमने देश की अखंडता और संप्रभुता की रक्षा करने में अपनी शक्ति का प्रदर्शन किया है, अपनी क्षमताओं को साबित किया है। त्याग और तितिक्षा हमारे राष्ट्रीय चरित्र का हिस्सा है, लेकिन साथ ही विक्रम और वीरता भी उतना ही हमारे देश के चरित्र का हिस्सा है। मैं देश को भरोसा दिलाना चाहता हूं, हमारे जवानों का बलिदान व्यर्थ नहीं जाएगा। हमारे लिए भारत की अखंडता और संप्रभुता सर्वोच्च है, और इसकी रक्षा करने से हमें कोई भी रोक नहीं सकता। इस बारे में किसी को भी जरा भी भ्रम या संदेह नहीं होना चाहिए। भारत शांति चाहता है, लेकिन भारत उकसाने पर हर हाल में यथोचित जवाब देने में सक्षम है। और हमारे दिवंगत शहीद वीर जवानों के विषय में देश को इस बात का गर्व होगा कि वे मारते मारते मरे हैं। अभी मेरा आप सभी से, सभी आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी से, सभी यहाँ इस मीटिंग में, वर्चुअल मीटिंग में उपस्थित आप सभी से आग्रह है कि हम खड़े होकर के 2 मिनट मौन रख करके इन वीर सपूतों को पहले श्रद्धांजलि देंगे। उसके बाद आज जो हमने हमारी मीटिंग तय की है उस मीटिंग को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। ओम शांति 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 है।
Viewers, this strong message was followed up by a clear accusation by the Minister of External Affairs, Jai Shankar, when he spoke to his counterpart, who dialed him after hearing the Prime Minister. He was so alarmed that he picked up the phone and he called here and he said, "What's going on? Please hold your horses." But the EAM has decided, viewers, the EAM has decided to call out China totally, has come out and said clearly that it was a premeditated attack. And it is on that basis, viewers, that today we are honoring our martyrs. And these are visuals coming of the last rites and the honor being provided to Havaldar Sunil Kumar. These are coming from Patna. Viewers, as India pays homage to our martyrs. Let's go across to this ceremony.
अरे ऐसे कैसे सामने आ गया था?
फिर कैमरा निकाले
क्या सही है? सही है, हाँ सही है।
सामने एकदम आगे फिर बोला सही चलेगा।
सर हटिए ना सर, जरा कैमरा लेकर हटिए ना सर सामने से। सामने से हटिए ना। हो गया छोड़ दो। उन लोग का भी काम है सर, थोड़ा सा हम लोग को भी जगह दीजिए सर। हाँ उधर उस साइड।
थैंक यू।
नहीं तो कैसे होगा, वहाँ से आपको ही हल्ला नहीं करेगा सर, कोई जगह
ऑन कीजिए ना। पीछे हैं और खोल देते हैं।
थोड़ा सा बस नीचे रखना, बस सारा हो रहा है।
चल जाओ, शुरू हो गया।
किस पर कनेक्ट है? 128 पर कनेक्ट
बेटा
भाई क्या कर रहे हैं?
Well, that is Havaldar Sunil Kumar, who has been received at Patna Airport. Those are family members of Havaldar Sunil Kumar saluting this brave soldier In the visuals there, you can also see his old parents, and what a loss for them, what a loss for this country. But even as India's grieving our martyrs, on the right side of your screens is this lady in Ladakh, where she's standing with her prayer wheel in a vigil outside the hospital where the other brave martyrs are lying. And she says she's going to be standing there right up until the point where these martyrs embark on their final journey home. She's been there since 7 a.m. in the morning. She's been there maintaining vigil. There are other people around who come and go. The prayer wheel goes on as India grieves for its martyrs, as India also salutes its martyrs, and as India relives the statement made by the Prime Minister that their martyrdom will not go waste. It will not go waste because India of 2020 is not going to buckle down. This is a new India with a resolve which has the strength to give it right back. And as we were pointing out, the statement that has been released after our External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar spoke with his Chinese counterpart, the statement is clear that there was an attempt by China to build construction in the Galwan Valley on India's side of the line of actual control. There was an attempt which was premeditated, which wanted to change the status quo. This despite the fact that on 6th of June, the senior commanders had decided that there would be disengagement from the position. Yet, China, in its normal deception that it normally posts out, tried to change that status quo, tried to, and even their mouthpiece yesterday said that the Galwan Valley was the position of China, which was complete lies. And today, S. Jaishankar, Foreign Affairs Minister, has nailed those lies and has said that India will not take this lying down. India has the capacity to hit right back. India will answer back this premeditated attempt by China to alter the line of actual control. The warning is also out to China from the Prime Minister that this is not a sign of weakness.
Viewers, a billion Indians today are echoing the same sentiment, that this must be punished. China's treachery, of course, caught out. Let's just go very quickly, keep those visuals on air, and listen in to the report sent by Vivek Narayan from Leh as he spoke to this lady.
I reached here at the government civil hospital at Leh around 8 a.m. and since then I have seen this lady. She's been having this prayer wheel with her and she's praying obviously right outside, and behind her is the mortuary where Indian braves autopsy is going on. It's very difficult to understand this feeling that the lady is going through. I'll try and ask her, Madam, आप सुबह से हैं यहाँ पे, आपके हाथ में ये प्रेयर व्हील है, आप क्या प्रे कर रही हैं? आप क्यों आई हैं यहाँ हॉस्पिटल में? आपका कोई एडमिटेड है? क्या हो गया?
नहीं जी, हम कल उधर जवान लोग शहीद हुआ ना, इसलिए हम लोग दुखी हो गया, इसलिए उनको विदाई करने हमारे लद्दाख की है ना ऐसे खतर लेके विदाई करता है, इसलिए हम लोग इधर आया। दुखी हम लोग बहुत, हमारे देश का जवान शहीद हुआ ना, इसलिए दुखी, इसलिए हम लोग पूजा कर रहे हैं।
ओके ओके, आप कब तक खड़ी रहेंगी? आप बीच में खाना खाने या घर अपने जाएंगी, क्या है
ये? जब उनका इधर से लाश ले जाएगा तब जाएगा हम, तब तक हम यहाँ रहेगा जी।
आपका कोई आर्मी में है? आपको क्यों लगता है इतना आर्मी के लोगों से लगाव? ये लोग क्या, आपके हस्बैंड, आपके बच्चे कोई आर्मी में है क्या?
मेरा तो नहीं जी, फिर भी ये सब मेरा बच्चा है। हम लोग आराम से घर में सोता है, ये लोग देश, हमारा देश में जो हम लोग आराम से सोता है, ये आर्मी की वजह से सोता है, आराम से खाता है। हम सोचता है आर्मी लोग, हमारे बेटा लोग हमारे देश का रक्षा कर रहा है, इसलिए हम आराम से सो सकता है, हंसते रहता है, सोते रहता है। ये बेचारे लोग वहाँ कितना मुश्किल से वो सामना करता है अपना। अभी देखो कल अपना जान भी खो दिया उसने, हमारा देश का सेवा करते करते। हम लोग बहुत दुखी है जी। हमारे मेरा बच्चा, सब बच्चा है हमारा, मेरा अपना घर का बच्चा नहीं होना चाहिए। देश का सारे जितने जवान है हमारा बच्चा है। हम लोग को कितना वो हम लोग के लिए कर रहा है ना, हम लोग को बहुत दुखी है, हम लोग को रोना आ रहा है। ये बच्चा लोग बेचारे, छोटा छोटा बच्चा है, किसी को छोटे छोटे बच्चे, हमारा बच्चा है, सब हमारा बच्चा है जी। हम लोग बहुत दुखी है, इसलिए हम लोग उनको विदा करने के लिए दे रहे हैं जी।
आपका शुभ नाम?
मेरा नाम श्रीयांग डोले जी।
तो श्रीयांग डोले, there a voice, a tenor, the emotion, whether you understand the language or not, reflects everything out there. The lady is there from morning 8 a.m. She's been there when the first body arrived. She's still there when I saw her last. She will be here for more time, she says. As I said, on social media, across media, there are voices that we hear. People who doubt what has happened out there. There are doubting Thomases. But there are people like Shri Angde also, who will just be praying for this man. No, her son, her husband, everyone is safe. Her brother, her family is all safe. She is here because she identifies with every Indian who's lost his life. Now that is an emotion that those who are criticizing, who are asking questions about this incident, should understand and hear aloud. With camera person Yogesh, this is Vivek Narayan in Leh for Times Now.
I can tell you, viewers, there's nothing to doubt. There's nothing to doubt because China's deception has been caught out. It's been caught out by commercial satellites, let alone anything else. I want to go straight across now to Athar Khan. Athar, the Chinese told us they would be disengaging. They were actually moving a lot of troops. They've been caught out by satellite that are commercial, and they map areas, and worse, they've also been caught out lying about the fact that they have had casualties, because you can see a number of Medi-Evac vehicles also in that Galwan Valley. Take us through these pictures.
Clearly, Rahul, two images that I want to walk our viewers through, and the intent of China is very clear. Nobody is really buying their obfuscation that they peddled today. The first image I want to look at right now, Rahul, is this one. I'll just put it up on the screen. It'll just load. There it is. Now you see this particular road which starts off, this is on the Chinese side of the Galwan Valley, where it starts off from there. These are white spots that might look to our viewers like white spots. If you go slightly closer, they look like vehicles. Now these are big vehicles, medium-sized vehicles. There could be evacs, there could be ambulances, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make, it starts right from here, goes on, snakes right along this ridge here, goes up till here, big concentration here of vehicles, could be medevacs, could be ambulances, could be troop carriers, could be trucks, could be buses. Goes up right till here, yet another big concentration of what looks like rapid Chinese movement, which is not normal on any given day. This is clearly not normal. The Chinese were clearly planning to do something because of the troop movement. It goes up right till here, more concentration here. If I just tell my colleague to come straight close up here, all of this is evidence clearly that the Chinese were moving big. Now this again is the same picture. We've put out these particular pictures here. I'll just go back to the one which is slightly clearer. There it is. You see this particular swing of the road here. This is littered, Rahul, with not just what looks like our mobile field hospitals. It also looks like there are many vehicles here. There could be tents, there could be supplies, there could be all kinds of things. So what does that prove, Rahul? It proves that the Chinese were obviously expecting something. It could be that they wanted to get their casualties back because they suffered many casualties. It could be they wanted to move more troops there. It could be anything. But what one thing is very clear from these images, like you pointed out, it's a commercial satellite. It's not very high resolution, but it doesn't need high resolution to understand the intent behind this movement. It could have been that the Chinese knew what they were about to do. They got casualties, needed to move troops about, and perhaps even bring in reinforcements.
And these are visuals from the 16th. From the 16th of June, Athar, and that clearly says this happens on the midnight of 15th, 16th, and on 16th June, if all of this is so visible on the satellite, Athar. What else could it be but premeditated and a desire to somehow change the status quo on the Indian side of the Galwan Valley?
Navika, they were not planning to leave, Athar. This doesn't look like someone that had been planning for the last 1 week moving troops out. I mean, those number of personnel carriers, the ambulances all suggest that they weren't planning to de-escalate, were they?
They had a plan to stay. Clearly, it looks like they knew exactly what they were doing when that clash happened with the Indian forces in the intervening night of the 15th and the 16th. It looks like the Chinese knew they would need reinforcement, they would need medical evac, they would need troop carriers, they would need perhaps more supplies. And this is all proof clearly. This is obviously courtesy Planet Labs, which is an open source intelligence website. If you see the spread of what I'm talking about right now, we'll just go quickly back to the earlier image. This is the second image I'm talking about. If you could just go back to the earlier image here, starts right up till there. You can see all of these areas circled in red, Rahul. All of this is evidence and proof that the Chinese were there to stay. Their intent is out there. It's out in the open, and they can't fool anybody anymore.
Well, it's very clear that the Chinese were intending to stay there, and not just through this that we know about the Chinese intent, their doublespeak, their deceit, but we also know that they were trying to do many other things, including espionage for the last 7 months. In fact, Times Now has information that China-backed a spy ring that has been busted by the Mumbai crime branch that was trying to extract sensitive information from our defense establishment in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, the very area where we are seeing this action. Over the last few months, there were several calls that were made, and 30 lakh calls on VoIP, which is voice over internet protocol, was being used by these rings that were operating on many Chinese telecom networks. There was a SIM card racket, and the area, the destination they were calling, Rahul, were actually Jammu and Kashmir, our defense installations in Ladakh, to try and find out what kind of troops were there and what kind of presence the Indian intelligence was
Absolutely.
there.
Look, there is no doubt. So the front was this telephone exchange, but the technology was all Chinese, supplied by 3 Chinese companies, 3 of them working together. This is in collusion with the ISI. So the Chinese ensured that they would not be in any way in the front line. But once our investigators began to uncover and military intelligence got on to the back of all of this, they realized that this entire network was being run on Chinese technology provided by 3 firms. The ISI was part of it. They were snooping on Indian deployment in Ladakh, in Kashmir, as well as in the other frontier areas of the state and the Union Territory, trying to ascertain where our troops were, what the deployment levels were. All of this was going on. It was all exposed a few days back, viewers. I want to go straight across to Siddhant and our other reporters who join us on the broadcast. Siddhant, this is a big news break in the context of the claims that have been made that this was a premeditated attack. The planning was being done months in advance.
Well, that's absolutely right, Rahul. When the de-escalation talks were going on, at that point in time, somewhere around 30th May, this raid was conducted by military intelligence, by military MI and Mumbai Police Crime Branch in Govandi area. Now, this exchange was raided. More than 200 SIM cards were recovered, Rahul, and prima facie, it looked that it is ISI which is backing this exchange. But in a course of an investigation, and what Mumbai Crime Branch officers have confirmed to us is that this particular spy network, this particular VoIP exchange was backed by 3 Chinese companies. Not just that, Rahul, one accused owner of this this exchange was also arrested at the time of raid. Now he has confessed to the crime branch that yes, I procured all the 5 SIM boxes from China first. Second, he also said that he was in touch with several other people in China, and even if I believe my sources in crime branch, then they are also confirming the fact that this particular person was paid by people in China to run this kind of clandestine operation in Mumbai, so that the calls from Pakistan, Dubai, Qatar, Bahrain can be routed through this VoIP exchange to defense establishments in Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh,
as conclusive
especially
as
in
it can
Leh.
get. The Chinese were certainly monitoring, and this is the reason why we are today honoring the sacrifice of our braves. Let's go back to those pictures
of
coming in.
Havaldar Sunil Kumar at Patna Airport.
तार है उम्मीद निभाता है, बताइएगा क्या?
Well, going across to Nikunj Garg. Nikunj, I also want to ask you this question, where Siddhant breaks this story of an illegal network. Isn't this an age-old tactic of the Chinese telecom companies? Many of them have links with the Chinese intelligence agencies, their military, and there has been right since the early 2000s. And I remember in my time when we were reporting on telecom, there were a lot of objections that came in from our own intelligence agencies, the Intelligence Bureau and the R&AW, about Chinese telecom companies being allowed to operate in India. And now these kind of rackets where espionage is the major objective coming into light so close, and trying to find out the details of our deployment through military intelligence in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Does this not raise another red flag here as far as Chinese investments in India are concerned?
Well, Navika, absolutely. And it's not only in India, it's not only in Indian jurisdiction that this kind of crisis has been faced by the investments in the Chinese in the critical infrastructure sector globally, starting from America to Australia, all over the world. Each jurisdiction has had at some point of time brush with the laws, the local laws that the Chinese have tend to violate in order to advance the interest of the Chinese Communist Party. But I want to go back to Siddhant's story, and I want to make a pertinent point at this point in time what you raise. I am very glad that the Mumbai Crime Branch and the other law enforcement agencies in this country will become less coy from here on, when we have seen the naked, bloodthirsty aggression from the Chinese once all over again after close to a gap of 50 years, in exposing what is a sinister and always persistent ISI and Chinese intelligence link. What has happened in multiple investigations in the past, I am afraid, and I'm sorry to say this, but it is the sad reality of the day, that not wanting to ruffle too many feathers on the Chinese side, we have generally tended to stay quiet even when the Pakistan ISI links have come to the Chinese operatives, and the investigators have generally only solely focused on the Pakistan ISI. in almost each of the critical ring, Navika, that is run from Pakistan High Commission or from any other part in this country led by the ISI or run by the ISI, Chinese are also indirect beneficiaries. Wherever there is substantive espionage involved, Chinese always are beneficiary of that information gleaned through direct or indirect contacts.
It's quite clear that, at least when it comes to Galwan, they certainly executed this plan to perfection in some ways. Luckily, the Indian troops stood their grounds because, very, very importantly, viewers, they were given the freedom to do so. This is a point that we forget. They were given the freedom to not just stand their ground, but also hit back at the Chinese, which they did to telling effect. Vivek, you're there, of course, in Leh. You must be now picking up more information on what really transpired and the entire premeditated plot.
Rahul, I've managed to speak to three wings of the forces, essentially people who are in the frontal areas, especially the ITBP, the intelligence agencies, the army, and a few other individuals here who came in to the hospital where I was reporting in from. Now, these are, some of them are officers and other ranks, people who carried the dead body from the incident site to Daulat Beg Oldi, and from there on a chopper brought it to the Leh airport, and from there transported it to the hospital where I was. So these are pallbearers, people who carried the dead body. They were speaking of the resolve with which the people were fighting. They were speaking of the pre-planned intent which was there among the Chinese soldiers. The fact that they knew from the very beginning, at a very senior level, that this is going to happen. Because at a lieutenant general, major general level, a decision was taken to de-escalate, a detailed plan was laid, and despite that, if a fight of this magnitude happens, it did have the blessings of higher-ups in the Chinese army, the PLA, and perhaps even the Communist Party of China. One thing that these people whom I met told me is that we will not give even 1 inch of India. Now, I was really emotional when I heard it, because I am standing in Ladakh. Slightly north of here is Aksai Chin, and I remember the entire Aksai Chin area was taken by the Chinese, and in the parliament, Pandit Nehru is supposedly, I have said, that we have lost Aksai Chin. Yes, remember, Aksai Chin is the size of Switzerland. And he said, nothing grows there. It's like my bald head. It's like nothing grows there, not a blade of grass. To which a senior Congress leader stood up and asked, well, your head also apparently there is not much there. Are you ready to give it to somebody else? That part that may be on a lighter note, but the intent, the intensity of emotion of these soldiers is something I saw there on the ground, and that is something that we all should be proud of. As that lady was telling us, when we sleep, these are the men who guard us, who make sure we have a good sleep. Whether it be here on the Ladakh border, whether it be at the Thar Desert in Rajasthan, whether it be a run of Kutch, any place, anywhere.
That's what, Vivek, every Indian soldier lives for. That's what his blood flowing in his veins actually tells him to do, which is to protect every inch of his motherland's borders. And that is the dedication, and that is how our young men go to these areas, fight for the country, don't think a second time about it. Well, let me get in our guests joining us this evening. We will get in Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, RSN Singh, Lieutenant General S.L. Narasimhan, but
Navika, Srinjoy reporting that the Indian Navy is also ready for any eventualities. I just want to go straight across to Srinjoy if he's there. Srinjoy, the Indian Navy getting ready for all eventualities. The Navy is thinking about moving 7 to 8 warships. What's the latest on this? What's the context here?
Yeah, there were ships, Rahul, that were on mission deployment, that were absolutely ready to go out. Now, let's be sure of something, that the Chinese did something, said that they were involved in anti-piracy some years ago. And what do they send for anti-piracy? They have sent currently in the Indian Ocean 2 frigates, 1 smaller warship, and a tanker, none of which is any good against pirates. But well, they are there, and the Navy is very, very clear. Certain areas have to be kept clear. So perhaps Malacca Straits is one area that the Navy will probably move out to. One area, of course, is this area east of Aden, where these Chinese ships are. So it is possible that the Navy will keep an eye on these 4 Chinese warships in that area. From tomorrow, there will be more ships that will be ready. They are being prepared, keeping in mind COVID and all that. So they are going to go out in a few days. Tomorrow there will be some ships, and after that several more. So the Indian Navy will ensure that the Indian Ocean remains Indian. That's really the objective, right from the Malacca Straits
India also
down
showing
to the,
its intent that it is ready for all eventualities. And joining us is Colonel RSN Singh. RSN Singh, sir, you have always said that Chinese are a country with whom you have to engage from a position of strength and not from a position of weakness. Is this India's option now to talk to China from a position of strength? Because the Foreign Affairs Minister has dialed, India has to look at its strategic options, and moving of its naval ships is one step in that direction.
Let me start in Hindi. वो कहते हैं कि बिना शक्ति के शांति नहीं होती. So without strength there is no peace. So you are absolutely right. We should talk from a position of a strength, and there is a lot of strength, let me tell you, and very responsibly I am telling you. Now Sunjay has just brought out the maritime dimension. In the overall scenario, if you consider Indo-Pacific, it is 30% land. This entire, this standoff with China is 30% land, 70% it is maritime. And so I will request all the guests, who come on television, panelists, I will request them also to concentrate on this maritime dimension. Don't get too much carried away by this that Series 62 paradigm. There is a huge maritime dimension, and Sunjoy put it so beautifully. He said that Indian Ocean will remain Indian Ocean. Just as he claims South China Sea, Indian Ocean is very much our backwaters. There is only one ocean in this country, in this world, which is named after a country, and that is India. And he is absolutely right. The sea lanes of communication has to be protected at all costs. Absolutely. And there I would like to go with this Quads and this US Japan South Korea, that we have as much stakes in the freedom of navigation in the South China Sea as much we have in Ladakh, because 30% of our trade passes through the South China Sea. Our trade to Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, western coast of USA. So you are fighting not some direct battles and a big war which has got maritime and air dimension. And let's not forget one thing, editor sir. The previous air chief, he had carried out 12,000 sorties in exercise Vayu Shakti. He generated those sorties. I say that even if 1/4 of those sorties were to materialize, I don't know, China would be reduced to rubbles.
China would be reduced to rubbles. Just very quickly, Navika, more breaking news coming in. Times Now accesses the blueprint of India's response, likely response. India prepares to respond. What we are learning is that India is set to dial down diplomatic engagements with China. India mulls raising tariffs on Chinese imports to de-incentivize Chinese goods. But very, very importantly, we are being told that a very important meeting that was to take place in a few days is not going to happen as per schedule, and that was the meeting that Mr. Jaishankar was to attend with his Chinese counterpart. That is not happening.
With the Russians
and the Chinese. RIC, that was the little, the new forum that has come up over the last few years. Well, that's been decidedly rescheduled.
off.
So that is very, very important.
Well, India will have to look at its entire strategy.
Yes.
In
There's
a manner that
of
it
the Chinese
has to.
human rights records in Xinjiang, which is also on the cards. This is what we are
Not
hearing.
just that, it is also the economic action that India will need to take. And at this time, there is a clamor growing in the country which seeks economic action, because the fact of the matter is India's total trade with China actually gives China its entire expense for its defense. Now, if India is going to have that level of imports from China, then we might as well be handing over that money to the Chinese army, because that's the total budget of the Chinese on their defense establishment. Now, that is the question on which India will have to respond. So the engagement will have to be at a diplomatic level, where India will need to expose China, which it has already done. China on the kind of bully it is, the way it is responding to Australia, the way it is behaving in the South China Sea, the way it is engaging with Taiwan, with Hong Kong. It's all on the table, and India will have to diplomatically push that message through furious engagements across the world. That's part one of the offensive that India can launch. Offensive number two will be the economic offensive,
Yes.
where India will need to take a call on reducing trade with China, putting higher tariffs on imports from China, and that is how Indian industry will need to benefit, and clearly Chinese imports will need to go down, and that is the economic reaction. Chinese investments into India will need to go through the route where there is already lens on them. There is a further tier of security that has been put on them, and going further from there, of course, will be the political engagement, where Rahul, they will have to calibrate and take this. The military option always exists, and India knows that its troops on the border are in a position to give the response that China deserves, because India is not going to shy away
Well, the
from
first thing
punishing
that
China.
Prime Minister is intending to do, and this is what we are being told, is a massive message to China going out there. Modi has called for an all-party meeting to secure opposition backing for the steps ahead, opposition support necessary to give Modi elbow room to explore a variety of options, Navika. So this will be a message that will be very closely read in Beijing, because a large number of the Chinese CCP types think that they can divide this country politically. And of course, there is a lot of opposition to Modi amongst a certain lobby of intellectuals as well as those who call themselves activists, etc. And they are all aligned to various political groupings also on the opposition.
There is another breaking news that's coming in. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to meet Yang Jiechi today. Yang is special representative on the border talks with India, with India's special representative being Ajit Doval. Possible that India-China standoff could now come up in this meeting. This is a pre-scheduled meet in Honolulu. The fact of the matter is the U.S. Secretary of State also present. It's a pre-scheduled meeting, but definitely the growing temperatures between India and China likely to come up in that meeting. So the diplomatic action from India, I think, begins forthwith.
We've been told that Delhi has been dialing a large number of world capitals, especially those that have leverage over China, to ensure that China gets the message, don't push us, we will punish you. That's the message that is also going to go across. I just want to bring in Lieutenant General S.L. Narasimhan. Lieutenant General S.L. Narasimhan, the straight question to you this evening is that a wide variety of military options, of course, remain with India to exercise. What's the most likely line that you think the Indians are going to adopt right now?
As you are aware, Rahul, that the situation in the area of Galwan is something that needs to be handled first, and so that disengagement has taken place. Though things are quiet there, things are tense on ground, but it is quiet at this point in time. That is something that we need to take call as to how to resolve. On the ground, the ground level talks are taking place, and hopefully some solution to this will be found in due course of time. In the meanwhile, you are aware, you showed in the channel that The martyrs' bodies are being flown back. Our heartfelt condolences to all the families. They have laid their lives down for the country, and even the Prime Minister actually paid his respects during that meeting that took place in the afternoon today. The issue that comes up is on the 6th of June, there was a consensus that was arrived at as the disengagement as to how disengagement should be done at the Lieutenant General level talk. It is in the process of implementing that when this incident happened in Galwan Valley. So obviously, we need to get this disengagement process first on track and then ensure that
while we are getting a disengagement into place, Maruf Raza, don't you think India will have to make other moves as well? Because all along you've been saying that India has to bargain, India has to talk from a position of strength. So it can't unidimensionally only concentrate on the disengagement, because the disengagement of 6th of June was violated on the 15th of June.
You see, I'll bring out, Navika, three aspects. First is about the disengagement on the ground. General Narasimhan was just explaining that, and he's well versed in doing that. The fact of the matter is, and that's my understanding, that I don't expect much joy with the Chinese as far as disengagement on the ground per se is to take place. That means, you cite all the talks and engagements that the Foreign Office is having with their Foreign Office and say that we agreed to disengage peacefully, so why don't we do that? I think the Chinese are just going to laugh on your face. So you've got to have a certain amount of muscle there, and you have to show resolve that it's not just fist fights, but you may have to resort to more weapons at your disposal. It's a point.
Well, Maruf, just hold your thoughts. We are getting a fresh report from the Global Times. It's the Chinese mouthpiece, Srinjoy Chaudhary, sending us that update. And China has finally accepted that they do have a bloody nose. 30 brave Chinese soldiers killed while defending Chinese territory. That's the latest report that's come out of China. Chinese and Indian troops engaged in serious physical clashes all through the night of 15 June at Galwan Valley. Indian side has accepted 20 of its soldiers were killed. A spokesperson for the Western Theatre Command that oversees defenses of China's border with India has released the names of 30 Chinese troops killed by Indian action. The names of the Chinese soldiers martyred are and Major Captain also left First Lieutenant. The names are given here in this list.
Sensational,
and this is sensational.
We are just awaiting word from Srinjoy Chaudhary, but basically the Chinese confirming the news that we broke last night at 10 o'clock, saying very clearly that there were massive casualties on the Chinese side.
30
These are deaths.
of them being confirmed right away, right on top. We were given to understand.
A major, two captains, a sergeant major. So the Indian side really gave it back to these cowards, Neanderthalic cowards that ran around with clubs.
Iron rods that they used on our soldiers, something that no professional army does. Clearly, these were not professional army men. They were not braves because they were thugs and goons roaming around with iron rods. Well, Srinjoy Chaudhary joining us live from South Block. Srinjoy, that's a huge update coming in. The final, agreement coming from China, and they've admitted to the fact that 30 of their soldiers have been killed by the Indian braves.
Yes, there's absolutely no doubt that there were huge casualties suffered by the Chinese, and we had corroborative evidence. All those pictures of medvacs, of ambulances, all those helicopters, those were clear signs that the Chinese had also suffered. It also stands to reason, if there are several hundred men fighting, and then with stones and iron rods, first of all, if the Chinese did not planned this out, why were they carrying iron rods? That's really the first question. But now it is clear that the Chinese have also suffered badly. 7 officers, according to this report, have died in the fighting. 1 major, 1 captain, some lieutenants as sergeant major, and several others. A total of 30. Now, this is very evident that the Indian soldiers, led by the colonel, fought very hard, and they ensured that if they had to die fighting, they would, as the Prime Minister said, marte marte marna hai. So it is very clear that the Indian...
This is what the Prime Minister was saying. He had the information. Look at this, viewers. 30 casualties, 30 deaths. 30 deaths and many more critically injured. Let me tell you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The Chinese have had to admit, because they have been called out everywhere. They have been exposed right here on Times Now. The visuals that you saw confirm that there were med-evac vehicles. There were even helicopters that flew in to try and rescue these people. There were air ambulances that came in. Unfortunately, the Chinese have suffered, and they have suffered these casualties. No one likes to talk about death in triumphal terms, but viewers, this is the reality. The Chinese pummeled by India, pummeled to the ground.
And names of each of these soldiers given there on the Chinese side, 30 is what they are admitting to, and it is our braves who actually gave it back in good measure. That is what the Prime Minister said in his statement, and the Prime Minister clearly knew India has been restrained. India did not announce this. They left it to China to announce.
Xiao Brigade, that's one name. Meng Jiang, captain of the Shanwei Brigade. Kui Kang, captain of the Shanwei Brigade. Huang Mu, first lieutenant, Zhongwei Brigade. Peng Guiwing, first lieutenant, Zhongwei. Song Zhan, first lieutenant of the Zhongwei. Liang Yan, first lieutenant of the Zhongwei Brigade. Shaoxia, sergeant major. Yi Jun Sheng Brigade.
And Zheng Wu, Tao Yi, Kong He, Zi Yong, Gu Kang, Tan Feng, Zhu Qin, Ren Lu Yin, Tian Zi, Du Min, Zhong Guing, He Huang, Gao Yang, all the names given here in this list by Global Times are clearly talking about very, very senior, 3 officer levels, major, 2 captains, 1 sergeant major, and at least 4 first lieutenants.
And let me tell you, Navika, the BBC News, though this is unverified, and I really don't trust the BBC News at all, but they were quoting an Indian military official to say that more than 300 Chinese troops at one point targeted about 30 to 40 of our troops. Before, of course, reinforcements were called in by the Indian sides, and the Chinese developed their own. And these were called the death squads. These people who came out there to club India into submission and intimidation were called the death squads. That's what the BBC claims.
Let's just put a caveat on this, because some agencies saying even this list put out by Global Times could be a fake forward that is coming across. Well, we're trying to ascertain the names, but names being present clearly is something that we're being told that this could be a fake forward. We'll have to ascertain the details that are coming in, but these names that are coming out, 30 is the number that we are talking about. We'll just pause, take a deep breath. We'll check these names.
Clever. They're very, very clever. Remember yesterday when the Global Times first reported that there were deaths, suddenly we were told that the Global Times had retracted the story, and they published a retraction. Then their editor-in-chief came out and said, well, you see, this has happened. We have suffered casualties. In fact, the Chinese have admitted that they have suffered casualties in their own statement. So
this could be part of the deception and the drama that they do.
All of that, someone has obviously leaked all of this information, and now a recalibration is being done to withdraw it. This is standard Chinese practice. They did it with coronavirus, and they're doing it now. We'll take a short break, viewers.